Hi, and welcome back to the Fortify Your Brain Summit. I'm Betsy Schroeder, your host, and today I have as my guest Anne Louise Johnson. Anne is a functional medicine practitioner and the CEO of the DNA of Hope, Incorporated in Georgetown, Pennsylvania. Her passion is working with clients who want to do more, be more, see more, learn more, and live more. She has been in practice for 40 years, and the last decade has been in functional medicine. As a thought leader and author, Anne has written 2 best-selling books, The DNA of Hope and Operation Hope. She started her first company, Wild Heart Strong LLC, to educate clients on how to age fiercely and with great health, living adventures to create new brain cells and power up life. Her book, The DNA of Hope, inspired the name of her second business. At the DNA of Hope Suite, she specializes in gut and brain health, utilizing genomics, cellular, metabolism markers, and specific gut and brain testing. She creates personalized nutrition and menu planning that is specific for gut restoration and brain and neuron higher performance. Welcome, Anne.
Well, thank you. It's a joy to be here.
Thank you. So your clinic is called the DNA of Hope Suite, and that's a center for brain health. So how did you get started and interested in brain health?
Well, through the power of motion and exercise. And I call it the me power, M-E. So I believe it started with my dad, who worked out an awful lot, and he was built. He wasn't quite a Charles Atlas, but he was quite built. And his muscles were so strong, but so was his brain. And he was a very fast thinker. This was pre-computer. So some of you that are pre-computer, you might remember what you did to memorize things. Well, he would have his entire office memorized, every piece of furniture. He sold school and office equipment, and he had every piece of furniture in every single warehouse that he had memorized exactly where it was. It was amazing. So I knew that he kept himself sharp. But 20 years ago, when retirement communities started, we started seeing a lot of people coming in who were 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, and 100. And we could actually see a lot of cognitive decline, a lot of arthritis, a lot of diseases, things that we weren't used to, because generally I was a critical care nurse and now I had moved to the retirement community. So after about 2 years, when we started seeing some younger people move in who literally told us how they stayed young, they had been on 8 medicines, they stopped that, they worked with their doctor, they started an exercise program, now they're 55 and ready to enjoy their retirement, which will, for them, would not be retirement, but it would be very active. Mm-hmm. So we started a program called the Center for Vitality, and in that vitality, we would help people move more. And this would be not only retirement, but skilled care. And what we saw was that through our data points, we saw less utilization of medicines, less healthcare, less hospitalizations, and it was just beautiful. The power of me power, of getting out and moving, whether you're running or walking or doing cardio, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it, because we need our exercise. And I found from that in our research just in the last 10 years that there's huge links between motion and exercise and the brain. One specific gene I'll talk about is the BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic hormone. What that means is that we can increase our vagus tone, we can increase our brain neurons easily by exercise. We see it in our cognitive decline clients, we see it in our Alzheimer's clients, we see it across the board. So if you want more brain power, learn what we're doing, and that's putting that me power in place so that one of our bylines is no brain left behind. That's how we got into it, and that was our start.
Oh, I love it. So I know you mentioned a delightful brain world and the delightful brain process, like in your website and your book. So what is that?
Well, the delightful brain, I came across this quote in a summary of an art program to help people with cognitive decline. And at the very top, it said a quote from Diderot: "Move me, astonish me, delight my eyes and brain. And that just really touched my heart. And so when we wanted to name our brain clinic, we call it Delightful Brain, because in a delightful brain, that's exactly what we want. We want to exhibit the magnificence of a wonderfully functioning brain that is fast, that is delightful, even though it lives within your skull and it's a dark container and it doesn't see the light of day, but you do. So let it be delightful. There's a couple steps to that delightful. And one of the things we found in that delight was you need a gut to feed the brain. So in our clinic, we are gut specialists and we are brain specialists. And we know that we need walnut oil, omega oil, B12. We need vibrant color foods, not your M&Ms, okay? We're talking about vibrant color fruits and vegetables and a lot of fat to keep that brain going. We know that the brain speed is about 500 milliseconds, which in translated, which would be about half a second. So a thought is half a second. A new thought pops into your brain, that's half a second right there. So if you want that brain to stay that fast and to be able to subtract 100 from 7 and keep on going by sevens, which is what I ask my clients to do, 93, 86, and right on down the line to 65, what we want is a fast brain that can do those multiplications all the time. Fast brain needs fat, needs hydration, needs fiber. And fiber is critical to us, but way too many people are not utilizing enough fiber in their diet, like chia seeds, flax seeds, celery, etc. Stress in the brain will stop it, which is why when I ask my clients to subtract 100 and to take 100 and subtract 7, I put the pressure on, say, go a little faster, and it clogs up the brain because it adds stress. In stress, we can't think. Mm-hmm. But here's a real key point. In stress, we can not only not think, but your gut does not work. So when we get to the part about how we get the gut functioning to help the brain, we'll give you a couple of pearls there. Mm-hmm. Sleep genes are critical to a delightful brain because if we are not sleeping, we are not healing. My clients know their sleep genes. They know which genes they have during the daytime and which genes they have at night. Sleep genes are critical so that we are managing that rhythm, that circadian rhythm, just like a plant rhythm, just like the sun rhythm. Every single thing within you has that typical rhythm. Your neurohormones are made at a certain time, you eat at a certain time, and if you flip that by working nights or changing your bedtime, it's much harder on your body to manage a healing zone time, which is your deep sleep, your REM sleep, and some of your light sleep. But you want that deep and REM sleep because that's when your detox works. That is when your immunity resets itself. That's when your memories are recalibrated and a number of other things. If you're not getting your deep sleep, you need to see somebody.
Oh, absolutely. And how about, I know you talk about healing with a meal when you deal with your clients. And what does that mean to heal with a meal?
Healing with a meal involves innumerable steps. But the very first step that I ask my clients to do is to take one food that you feel is unhealthy off your plate. Just one. Okay. And put something special on there that maybe you liked as a child. Maybe it's a vegetable, maybe it's a piece of meat, maybe it's fruit, but it's healthy. Just make that one change. And when you make that one change, you have actually started to change your body, change your cells, change your DNA, because food is linked tight to our DNA. Food is information for our DNA. So if we're eating M&Ms all the time, that high sugar feeds certain things that are not necessarily healthy for the body. But if we're eating broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, some of those cruciferous vegetables, or if we're eating the polyphenols from the beautiful, vibrant colored vegetables and fruits, that changes how our genes and our microbiome inside react. So there's a couple of steps now to heal with a meal. Number one, you change that one food. After you make that change, you start getting into a healing mode. And here are 8 voluntary steps that you have before you swallow the food. And you have to realize these are voluntary. So these are the steps we can change so that your gut can heal, that food can heal you, that you can have a strong brain. The very first one is your shopping list. So I ask my clients, what is on your shopping list? Are the chips and the sodas on there? Just take a look at your shopping list and realize how you're eating to either be healthier, stronger, longer, or weaker, sicker, quicker. The second thing is, where do you buy your food? We do need some food that is organic, but it doesn't need to be all organic. But it does make a choice for you if you're purchasing from places that do not have fresh food. Vegetables at this time of year need to be really fresh. So use your farm markets. They are excellent for getting those fresh foods in there. Not only where you buy, but what are your choices? When you go past the vegetable aisle, do you go buy it really, really quick so you can get to the potato chip and the Coke aisle? Or do you go by the vegetable aisle and say, you know, there's a new vegetable I've never seen before. I'd like to try that one. I don't know how to cook it, but I can find that on Dr. Google. So learn a new vegetable at least every month, or a new fruit. Make some good choices. Vibrance is what we want in our food. In my book, The DNA of Hope, I take food and I turn it upside down because people don't understand food. The easiest thing that you can understand is that it's full of electrons from the sun. So if you're making food choices, look for that vibrant purple, blue, green, brown, yellow, orange. Those are electrons talking to you to say, eat me, I can heal you. Mm-hmm. If you have electrons in your food, one thing that you do not want to do when you're preparing that food is to use the microwave devil. And I say those two words together because a microwave takes your electrons in that food and it moves them 2 billion times a second. Now, I can't even talk that fast. 2 billion times a second. So the electrons are weak and fragile when they're done. They are spent, and you need electrons to make your energy. And that energy is critical, critical, critical to you. So that is your ATP energy. When you prepare a meal, do you salivate thinking about how good it's going to be? Do you have a community to eat with, or do you eat alone? Those things do matter. Do you eat in a restful mode? If you eat by eating fast and not chewing, it means that you do not digest your food. You must be in a restful, calm mood in order to digest. Liquids, we ask that you drink very few liquids, maybe about 4 ounces with the meal, but never a bicarb or a bicarb soda, like a Perrier water or something that has some of the bicarb in it. I ask my clients to chew their food. Do they eat like a snake or a Labrador, or do they chew their food? That's almost the last voluntary step that you will have before you swallow your food. And you know, if you're chewing your food, you take that amylase and you actually stimulate something called haptocorin, which is the B12, vitamin B as in boy 12, security guard. It covers the B12, particularly in your meat, because there's not a B12 in plants. And it covers it so that it is safe in your digestive tract all the way through the digestive tract until it gets to the small intestine, end of the small intestine, it releases it, and then your B12 is absorbed. And you swallow your food, and that is the end of the automatic heal with the meal, because now you need to break the food down, utilize it, get it into your cells and repair. But those steps are all automatic. I leave you with one thought with heal with the meal. The fork is the most dangerous weapon on earth.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, exactly. People need to watch what they put at the end of that. So what are some other pearls of wisdom that you can share with us on fortifying the brain? What have you learned over time?
Sure. We learn that the way into the brain is through the senses. Now, generally, there are 5 or 6 senses, depends on which book you read, but we actually created 2. I'll tell you what they all are in just a minute. This is our lifeline into the brain. The auditory canal, literally, the 8th cranial nerve goes right into the brain. The vagus nerve is another nerve we use, but we want to create a new journey, and that new journey is to grow a powerful brain. So in Operation Hope, I teach about how to reverse cognitive decline. And we do that in the 8 sense mode, using all of our 10 senses, touching, feeling, healing, seeing, etc. And those are our lifeline to awaken again our emotions, take a walk through a cognitive decline unit and see how many people look at you, talk to you, smile at you. Number one, they probably can't see you, so you need to get up close. But those are the senses that are going down as we age. Do not let them go down. Do not let them go down. Use them, use them, use them. They not only awaken our emotions, but they unlocked stalled and still performance. They increase your brain speed. So if you haven't smelled cinnamon and you loved cinnamon when you were little, start smelling it. Start thinking about the memories that you had with it, because that is one of the new senses, how to remember. It is literally a sense that you can remember what it was like to smell that cinnamon, etc. Now, many people are going to say, well, I can smell cinnamon, I don't have a problem. But did you realize that at the age of 40, the brain power starts going down? And this is critical, because if you don't have brain power, you are going to lose out in your job performance, in your athletic performance, and in life. So at the age of 40, certain things happen with hormones and a number of other things, and we need to get the molecules of food to the gut to feed the brain. We need to keep the senses strong to feed the brain. And in our delightful brain, we use those 8 senses. Here they are: touch, taste, smell, see, hear, proprioception. That is our balance. And how many of you have difficulty balancing in a dark room? That is critical. That's very, very potent if you have a problem there. Remember what your senses do, and support. This is where I talk about the community inside and outside of us. We have a huge community that wants to help support people, get them to their next step. And if you don't, we have a community here that does that, because that's what we do for our clients. We provide that level of support and that level of I can, because people are coming to us with an I can't or an I won't mode. And to power up the brain, we need to get to the I can. How we do that is support. I have literally seen I can brains to be a beautiful green in color. This is our brain map. I have seen people that say I can't to have more of a red brain. That would be inflammation. And for people that say I won't, I'll never walk again, I won't do that, we're looking at a very cool brain. In other words, it's cooling from mitochondrial degeneration, and that is not good. We have a lot of work to do with a cool brain. So my statement here is to move, 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 move me and delight me, delight that brain. A little piece of new research that I want to spend just a minute on is increasing vagal tone. That's your vagus nerve. Decreasing the sympathetic fight or flight, increasing the parasympathetic, but also increasing a part of that sympathetic that is literally a safe handle on our white blood cells. New research says that we can lower inflammation by monitoring our sympathetic nervous system, increasing our parasympathetic and doing certain things that fight toxins within, because the vagus nerve literally smells and senses those chemicals out there and turns on inflammation to get rid of it. And certain things happen that the inflammation doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. And then we get total inflammation, and it's called just the nerve, the whole nerve and the brain system is on hyper, more pain, more redness, etc. We see this every day. And what we're doing right there to reverse that is a very key point. We're using heart rate variability to the nth degree to help a person with their breathing, with their autonomic nervous system, to get into the parasympathetic mode. We heal in that mode.
Wow. All right. Sounds like you have a lot of things going. What are some of your other projects?
We have a number. So one of our bylines, as I mentioned earlier, is so no brain is left behind, but we also don't want a gut left behind. So we're looking at everything that we can do to start healing the gut, to heal the brain. We're looking generally now, one of the programs we're working on is our culinary. What are the foods that feed the brain first? We have a culinary artist here in our clinic, and she is teaching us not only a lot about nutrition, but we actually get our meals here, which is wonderful.
Yeah, wow.
We're working with heart rate variability to go into a research mode on that, so we can work with, we can actually see different white blood cells that are malperforming, that are creating toxins, and we can slow that down, because you can't help a person who is so in their, the sympathetic nervous system is so high and they're inflamed, and you say, look, you got to relax. There ain't no way they're going to relax. We got to help them with certain things to move that whole system backwards. We're using neurofeedback. We do an awful lot of neurofeedback, and we're hoping to go virtual in the near future. We do surface brain neurofeedback, which is like a photo of the brain and how you can change the different waves. And we're starting deep brain neurofeedback, so we can go deeper and actually see the inside of the brain, like the amygdala that holds fear, and how we can start releasing that with neurofeedback. That's more like a movie.
Wow.
We're working on some inflammatory markers, some resilience markers, and I'm working with my clients to learn how to read faster. I read about 20,000 words a minute. I took the Evelyn Wood Reading Dynamics class when I was a senior in college. I wish I would have taken it earlier. And when you get to that speed, you're actually reading by paragraphs instead of reading every single word. So it helps you recognize patterns. And it's one of the things that we're teaching our clients, and also our A team, we're working on them with their gut and their brain health. So we personally, in this clinic, have a lot of projects on hand and a lot of things that we do. So if a client comes to us and they need something and we don't have it, we will find it. We will find a way to help them.
Wow. Sounds exciting. So what do you personally do on a regular basis to fortify your brain?
Okay. I am gluten-free and dairy-free, but I have just recently gotten my wheat Zoomer test from Vibrant, and I found that there's some wheat sneaking through here. So I'm going to be more diligent in finding where that wheat is coming from, because wheat and gluten in many conditions are literally dangerous. Gluten is a toxin. We know it's got Roundup all over it, which is glyphosate, a toxin. So I'm also learning to chew as a nurse. You know, we don't really chew very much. So that is something that I'm working on. One of my statements is the gym is the new hospital. And with that, I believe that more exercise is better. And I hope that you're going to take that me phrase, movement and exercise, and make it a byline for you. The Delightful Brain and Gut program, we're working with the Microbiome Connect, because now we can connect This microbiome sum total of our bacteria is 7 years old. And what we're finding is now we can connect diseases, depression, anxiety, even bipolar and schizophrenia to certain microbiome conditions. It's getting exciting out there. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm applying my own lifestyle powers that I have written about in the DNA of Hope, the support, motivation, food, motion, emotion, breath, and sleep, which all equal resilience. They are your lifestyle powers. They are your cape. And I apply them in my own life.
So when you mentioned sleep, should we all be doing melatonin if we can't sleep, or do you recommend melatonin?
Great question, because no, I don't. We have found in clinical practice, before the research came out, which was about 2 years ago, we did start melatonin on many clients. And what happened was a subset of them started becoming diabetics. Their hemoglobin A1C would go up, which is a 3-month test on their glucose. So we asked them to watch their diet. They said they were. They came back again. Their hemoglobin A1C was higher. So then the research had come out and said that if certain people have a night gene, I think it's the MTR1B1, that is a melatonin gene. And if they are low powered in that, comes from the 23andMe, and I put it through an Opus 23 program, and it cracks your many genes open that we can see more. If they have that gene, it means that they definitely will become a diabetic if they're on melatonin. So I'm very careful with who I work with melatonin, and only if I have their sleep genes will I suggest it.
Okay. What are some other things otherwise that you recommend for sleep? Because I know that is a huge part of the brain healing and repairing at night.
Yes, I strongly recommend magnesium at night, usually a magnesium glycinate or a magnesium threonate or a magnesium taurine. The taurine helps the gallbladder, and many people do not have enough gallbladder strength to carry them through with a healthy microbiome. Gallbladders are made to A, digest fat, B, to modulate or strengthen our microbiome so that the strong ones, the ones we need, are kept and the pathogenic ones go away. Gallbladder bile helps that. We need vitamin D, and vitamin D is in dog, in order to make those chemicals. So if we don't absorb our fats, we don't have vitamin D. So it's always good to get your vitamin D checked. Magnesium is huge. I also suggest a spore probiotic at night, because your immunity does work at night, and it gives it a nice long time to start working in the body. And I find that that's very helpful. Exercise is extremely helpful in order to have a good night's sleep. I also ask my clients to measure their sleep, whether it's a watch, a Fitbit, or some other apparatus that they can know if they are waking up continuously. If you wake up frequently at night and you see from a Fitbit or from a whatever you're measuring your sleep with, if you're waking up 4 to 5 times, that means your detox system is not working. So you need a functional medicine practitioner to help you review that and figure out what to do. But your immunity works at night, your muscles repair at night, your memories are filed. But now we go back to what you take to bed with you. Do you have a sleep hygiene program? A sleep mask to keep any light out of your eyes? Do you take bad food with you, bad emotions, too much exercise late at night, which increases your cortisol? You have to think about a good sleep program. And one of the key pieces would be not to take the rays from a computer or a cell phone for the hour before bed with you to bed, because they destroy your melatonin enzyme. We all have natural melatonin. And if you break that melatonin enzyme, your melatonin, will not start rising at 7:30 at night based on your circadian or sleep cycle, and be ready for you between 9:30 or 10:30 when you go to bed. So
Mm.
a sleep program is critical. Magnesium is critical. Magnesium threonate, taurinate, glycinate, never an oxide.
Mm. Okay, good to know. So were there some stories about clients that you wanted to share, just some case studies that, where you just noticed a lot of improvement working with people?
Sure. Our clients are extremely special to us. And I have found over the years that many of them come to us with so many challenges that it takes the first 15 minutes to actually start restoring their hope. And I have found that we do that best by putting these 6 inches of charts away and just talking to them and asking them, what would they want to do if we get them better? And what is their aim in life? What is their goal in life? And they said, no one has ever asked them that before. And then we asked 3 symptoms to go away. That gives me the measurement I need, because now I know their goal, whether it's an Olympic athlete or a gold medal in life or to have more children, whatever it is, we know where we need to get them. And then we have their 3 symptoms. It gives us that dial that tells us right where we need to go. Case 1, depression. So we see so much of this, and depression, I'm finding, is where we have more cytokines or white blood cell toxins in our body that are turned on too much. We have a higher sympathetic nervous system and a lower parasympathetic. We literally have poor 10th vagal nerve tone. Our cells are in a crisis. Maybe they're not being fed, maybe there's too much inflammation. We take care of that. We start looking at inflammatory markers. Do they have wheat, dairy inflammatory markers? Do they have a gallbladder that's functioning? Very critical, because depression and inability to absorb fat are tightly linked. So we take care of that. We look at their microbiome and make sure that it is delightful. When we are finished with someone who has depression, we have straightened out the gut so it's high performing. We have worked with their brain with heart rate variability so that they have a lifelong ability to now learn how to manage their depression by managing their vagal tone. We found foods that are helpful, a support system, and have given them back that hope. And then one of the things that my certified nurse practitioner does is, if they're on a medication for depression and they're ready, she will start to help them get off that so that we can start working again more naturally. We restore that delightful brain in depression.
Mm.
A second case I'd like to run through is someone with a concussion. Now, I know someone else is talking about concussions and I don't want to steal their thunder, but what I've found is that the gut and the brain need to be in line. And when you have a brain event, it knocks the gut offline. So we are always working with the gut and the brain as a team. When we look at an evoke or a brain map, we're seeing different challenges in that depending on where the concussion is. But we can actually see the contre coup sometimes is when the brain was hit, let's say on the right side, we can see a contre coup on the opposite side where the brain fell back into the skull. So it's totally on the opposite side. We use high fat. For any of you with concussions, we use omegas as much as you can handle, because that is what repairs the nerves so that they are not kinked. The brain will start to let those kinked nerves go, because you've got thousands of membranes that when you're concussed are stuck, and the nerves are stuck in there, and they need to be oiled back. So those are some of the things we do with a delightful brain.
Wow, that is amazing. So where can people go to find you and, learn about where where to find your books and your website and where are you located?
Okay. My website is www.dnaofhope. That would be the same as my book, dnaofhope.com. And that is taking major changes in the next couple weeks. If you're interested in appointments, I am offering a 20-minute free appointment just to see if what you have and what we have is, something that we can mentor and partner with. Our phone number here at the clinic, 717-786-3199. My book is up on Amazon.com, DNA of Hope. Our clinic is located in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We like to see a client one time and then I can go virtual or Zoom.
All right. Well, thank you. Lots of great information there.
I hope it helps. And our goal, no brain left behind, no gut left behind.
All right. That's a good way to end. Thank you so much, Anne.
And thank you.